People's Democratic Party's National Working Committee and the party's Governors Forum are said to be planning a strategic meeting on May the 11th to address the wave of defections and other challenges facing the party. Besides exploring for ways of checking what many now refer to as Hurricane Tinubu, a direct reference to the mass exodus of PDP members to President Tinubu's ruling All Progressives Congress, PDP is also set to revisit the long-standing dispute over the position of its national secretary. And I'll be joined by a chieftain of the ruling party, George Agbakahi, to discuss defections to his party, current political alignments and realignments, and how all this could shape the politics of 2027. Good day. It's good to have you with us. Now, very good. So let's talk about...
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, good. So defections into the ruling party. Some have said this is a normal democratic process, and some have criticized the move, waves of defection into the ruling party. So what is your position on this scenario?
Thank you again for having me. I believe in every democratic system. Political alignment, realignment, coalition, and party defections are major characteristics of every political system. And this issue of party defection in Nigeria didn't start today. I remember vividly even during the pre-independence days, in 1951, pre-independent parties also defected, from one party to the other, depending on where their interest is. So that's exactly what is happening. The recent defection by the current governor of Delta State, as well as the former governor and also the vice presidential candidate of Agbakahi in the last general election, to me, is not only a political earthquake, it's a political tsunami, in the political history of this great country. But the point now is this. It's very mind-boggling to me when people like Malam El-Rufai, who was a chieftain of APC, defected to SDP. Even the former governorship candidate of Labour Party in Enugu State, Chijioke Edogan, recently defected to PDP. Those ones didn't make a lot of news or noise. But when, big players in PDP now defected to APC, like what just happened in Delta State, it has become an uproar politically in this country. Defection has started long ago, even in the US. Look at President Donald Trump was once a Democrat between 2001 and 2009 before he defected to the Republican Party. And now he's president of the United States. So it's not new. Let's look at the Constitution. Section 68, subsection 1, as well as section 109, made it abundantly clear that one can always defect to another party. And section 40 of the Nigerian Constitution talked eloquently, about freedom of assembly, freedom of expression. So it's not a new thing. It is natural. But to me, I believe this defection in Delta State is a clear affirmation and utmost authentication of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In fact, I see it actually as a demonstration, by the governor of Delta State and that vice presidential candidate, Okowa, the faith and trust they have in the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is what we see.
All right. You're definitely supposed to see that as a member of the APC. So we're not necessarily thrown off by your perspective. But the other perspective, even though you've mentioned that there's nothing new about defections, you also said that this is a tsunami type of defection. Now, when we look at the timing and we can't actually deny that these two defections are very peculiar. But that must be quite plain. That needs to be laid bare. But one of the things that the former governor did say when he was on the morning show, he said ideologies don't exist when it comes to politics, that it's really about what works for the individual. So I'm wondering what value, let's set aside what you see as this being an endorsement of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. Beyond since he said that this is a case of, that this is not about ideologies, but what works for the individual, what value are these, let's forget about the current governor of Delta State, what value is Okowa bringing to your party that is worth this, what you termed a tsunami and earthquake type defection?
You know, politics is pretty dynamic. You know, and in politics, there are divergent of interest. What happened in Delta State, you can attune it to the fact that PDP as a political party is disorganized. In PDP, currently there is no national secretary. There is a problem between Ude Okoye and Senator Anyanwu. And apart from that, the board of trustees of PDP are divided. And if you also come to PDP, you know, there's lack of party cohesion. There is internal strife that is ongoing in the party. And you know, politics is also about interest. So I believe, you know, a former PDP steward like Okowa, he has looked at the intricacies and underpinnings in PDP and felt that it will be wise for him to come to a party that is more stable, a party that has the interests of Nigerians at heart, and a party which also has the capacity to win the 2027 general election. If you listen attentively during the defection, personally, I heard former Senator, I think James Manager, spoke. He said that they don't want to continue to stay in the sinking ship. Similarly, the Commissioner for Works and also a spokesman during the defection said that it is because of insecurity. And he also talked about infrastructure, and that they will prefer to be with the center where they will also be getting development. See, let me tell you, you know, politics in Nigeria is not only about personal interests, it's also about community interest.
Indeed, indeed.
They have felt that staying with the center will afford them the opportunity to do a lot for their people.
All right, Dr.
And that is the truth.
Dr.
Look,
Agbakahi,
in Nigeria.
yeah, if I may just interject,
Yes.
I apologize. I would just like you to talk about the legal implications of defections of those currently holding office. The same constitution you alluded to, there have been calls by pundits that, okay, fine, you have defected, but that seat that you're currently holding, you ascended to that seat with the previous political party. And this is not only on the governorship perspective, but we've seen scenarios like that also in the House of Assembly as well. So I'd like your thoughts on that, going by constitutional provisions, that once you defect, you're expected to also vacate that seat. But that's not the case here on most cases regarding the Nigerian political scene.
Well, that particular section that talked about defection also made it clear that one can defect when there is internal strife in their party. And I've just explained to you what has been going on in PDP and even also in Labour Party. Look at Labour Party. There is no chairman as we speak. They are in court between Abure and the other gentleman. The same thing is happening in PDP.
So are you disputing that
So that is why some of these people are defecting, and that's a good reason.
Sir, are you disputing that aspect of the? Are you disputing that aspect of the constitution that my colleague just brought up? Are you saying it doesn't matter as long as there's conflict in other parties? Then it doesn't matter.
You know, there are options. What your colleague talked about in terms of defection and also resigning from the political party or from the office you are in is true. But also, that same constitution talked about the internal dynamics of political parties, where it stated succinctly that when a party is in disarray, members of that party have the impetus to move to another party. And like I told you, this has been happening since 1951, during the pre-independence years. It happened again in the 60s, in the First Republic. Happened in the Second Republic between 1979 and 83. Happened also since 1999, it's been going on. So that is the problem. I don't think there is anything wrong with defecting.
All right.
It is part and parcel of party politics.
Indeed, indeed. And it's still a fluid scenario, and we'll be keeping tabs on that. Dr. George Agbakahi, APC Chief Tape, would like to thank you for your thoughts on those issues. Good to have you with us.